All right. Good morning and welcome to Party Crashers. I am your host, Steve Tapas, here with my co-host, Megan Thuy. Meg.
Hello, hello. Hi,
I
hi,
called
hi.
I called you Megan the other day, and somebody's like, "Who?" Or I called you Meg, and somebody's like, "Who?" And I'm like, "Megan Thuy," and they're like, "Oh, Megan. Yeah, I've never called her Meg before. Did she let you do that?" I was like, yeah." Do people call you Meg or Megan?
Both. I like when people call me Meg, but usually it's only like people who know me pretty well are comfortable enough to call me Meg, I guess. But it's like, it's like a familiar name. Um, I feel like it's weird though because I've always felt like I don't feel like my name is Megan. Like I
Yeah.
don't look like a Megan, so I don't feel like my name is Megan, but my name is Megan. You
No,
know?
you do not comport yourself as a Megan. You definitely comport yourself as like.
Megan Tweed, fine. But like Megan.
Mhm. I don't consider myself a Steve, to be honest with you.
My first boyfriend's name was Steve.
Really?
Steven, yes.
Oof.
So like I feel like there we have Stephen Miller, we have my ex-boyfriend Steve who's psychotic. We have Steves are like you're a nice Steve. You're a good Steve. There are a lot of not great Steves. Steve Bannon.
Yeah, no, the Steve name has been really like driven through. That's why I didn't like start getting being referred to my first name until like I like got health insurance like at real jobs. And then like I like most people just call me Tapis or Tap. And I mean like I don't really care what anybody calls me as long as like the check clears and you think I do a good job of being a human being. But
Right.
you think I'm doing a good job of being a human being, that is. But yeah, no, I first names are weird. Uh First names are weird because we don't choose them.
Right. It's so much pressure on parents. Like picking my kids' names, I was like, what am I supposed to do?
Your kids' names are awesome, and for OPSEC reasons, I will not repeat them on stream. Your kids are well, first of all, your kids are awesome, and
Um,
I'm not gonna say what we were doing, but the last couple days we've been like hanging out with them in like various capacities, and Mag has been like, "Well, I don't want them to be a distraction or whatever." And I'm like, no, those kids are cool as hell. And I'm also more of a distraction than your kids. In all of these like contexts, like Catherine was like, "Oh, how was the thing you did yesterday?" Or like, what we were doing yesterday. And she's like, I was like, "Oh no, it was great." And she's like, "Oh, cool. Was Meg there?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course she was there." And she's like, "Oh, cool." And then I was like, "Yeah, like she was worried about like distractions or whatever." And I was like, "Hey, like it's fine." And then I was like, because I ate like 8 popsicles during that
you
thing.
did.
And she's like, and I'm like, "Baby, like Mag like told me that that I eat too many popsicles." And she's like, "She's right. You eat 25 popsicles a day." And
How do you eat so many popsicles? It's like is that just like you switch between like some nicotine and like a popsicle, like just
pretty much, yeah. It's kind of
um,
like my thing, like those are kind of like my last 2 vices. Like I've really like cut back on like everything else to the point where I feel very bad now if I do stuff that regularly that is kind of no judgment. Like everybody's got their relationship with fun. But
mhm.
for me,
Oh,
I'm
don't
just
I know it.
yeah, right, exactly. We all have our thing. But yeah, no, popsicles is kind of like my replacement for certain stuff. I by far my worst vice though was gambling. That was like the one that was gonna ruin me.
Are
Uh
you ever tempted to go on to throw some money on Kalshi or
Constantly. Like I've actually proactively banned myself from Kalshi and Poly Market. Like
that's
I like emailed them and said like I'm a problem gambler.
good. Good for you.
You have to, dude. Like if you never like quit being a gambler. You just I published a Substack about it, and it was like one of those things where oh, I have to go live on Instagram. You have to click go live, by the way.
Oh shit. Okay.
Um I published a Substack article just about like how you never really quit gambling. You just kind of always have to avoid it for the rest of your life.
Uh-huh.
But like, so you never like quit being a gambler. You just quit being a loser by going to places where you always lose, like a
Mhm.
casino, for instance.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm always tempted to. It's it's great, but it'll destroy your life. Gambling has a highest level of self-harm of any addiction. Did you know that?
I did not know that. That's interesting. Like self-harm in what way?
Like unaliving oneself
Okay.
specifically. And it's because it's one of the few it's very hard to intervene in an addiction that doesn't outwardly show physical signs of
Well, it's like sex addiction.
yes. Yeah, it's very
Like
similar.
it's really hard to regulate because like it can show up in like if you want to gamble, you don't have to go to a casino or even open up an app. You can like figure out other ways to like,
Mhm.
you
And
know?
it's and it's like how do you illustrate to somebody that like in sex addiction, it's like how do you illustrate to somebody that like how does somebody see that you need an intervention?
Yeah.
Like how does somebody see that you've lost like 20 grand on like blackjack
Yeah.
and you've like they can't see that. You can't intervene to that.
Right.
Um, so it's a really and like honestly, I think that it will be the opioid crisis of the next 10 years because it's really insidious. And there are a lot of people who have been taking money from like gambling sites and I understand that's like where the money is and I won't though. Like they've reached out to people that I know who have said no. There are some people that I know that have said yes. Um, but I won't take money from them. And actually, it's one of the few things that if I got an audition from my agent for that, I would not audition for a role in a gambling commercial. Uh, that would be one of the only things I would say no to. Um, because even as an actor, that's where I would not want to even help
Yeah.
get somebody that low, you
Right.
know.
Right. Damn.
Um, and if you hang out in a barbershop, you're gonna get a haircut. Yeah, that's the thing. So you just got to stay out of the fucking barber shop.
Yeah.
Um,
True that. Okay. I just like pulled up this article because I pulled up the news to see what there is. Do you want to see what the 2028 Democratic ticket may be taking shape according to Politico?
I do want to see that. Wait 1 second. I do want to see that actually. I'm almost compelled to just skip the run a show we put together to read that. Top
Oh
lines.
no, I was gonna do that on the top line and then we
Oh,
can
perfect. Let's do it. Let's do it. So yeah, let's do the top line. You want to share the screen?
sure. I was just gonna pull up some stuff that is on Apple News. Share
Perfect.
screen, window, news,
Thanks
share.
for Thanks for joining us, everybody. We are live right now, and we're here every day in the morning to greet you, and we post our content throughout the day. We obviously want you to join us on Twitch or Substack or YouTube because it's a better experience for everyone, and it helps us stay out of the main oligarchy platforms that have demonetized us on places like TikTok. Thank you, Ellison family. You go fuck yourselves. So yeah, follow us there.
Do you want to pull my screen up? Sorry, people. I have like a knot in my back, so that's what this thing is. All right. Democrats are approaching what could be their most wide open presidential primary in decades, but I'd venture a confident prediction today. One of the two Georgia senators will be on the party's ticket. Senators John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock, the two Democrats who delivered their party a majority with their twin victories at the end of the first Trump term, could bookend the outgoing president 8 years later. Ossoff embodies. Do we like Ossoff? I think we do, right?
I think he's got a set of values that's pretty consistent with like somebody who has a set of values, which leads me to believe that he can move. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And he's a good communicator.
And then their other pick is Raphael Warnock. I don't know. I feel like this is
My biggest issue with those two is they have been very quiet on Palestine, but I think Ossoff is kind of in the middle of a re-election campaign that he needs to win, and I think he is being a little bit pragmatic. I think Warnock is worse on it than Ossoff, but I know some people who know some people down in Georgia who knew him from kind of before he got into politics, and apparently he was a pretty decent guy. So, is a pretty decent guy. So not that personal conduct, I mean, obviously personal conduct is important, and I think that at his core he wants to do good, you know.
Yeah. Ugh. I mean, like, I feel like this article is like too much of an intentional placement for buzz. So I'm not like, I feel like, what the fuck? I feel like what's annoying with, I'm just gonna stop sharing my screen for our top lines. Let's just talk about who they want us to run for president. I feel like Eliza Slotkin has been like being shoved down our throats in the most annoying way. Gavin Newsom, is there anybody whose name is like being floated around that you're like, I would want them to be the presidential nominee? Because I'm like not feeling that about anybody.
Are you talking about like people who are being floated by the party, or just
no people who who are just being floated in general, where it's like, oh, they might run?
Yeah, I think if Roe runs, Ro Khanna, I would be pretty happy. I would be happy about that. I would be happy if I would be like, I have to see what version of AOC emerges in the actual primary, like, because if it's like AOC from, like, I don't know, I think AOC is like being smart right now, but I don't know if AOC is this new version of AOC where she's become like a pragmatic. She knows how to wield power now, which a lot of people in the left like misinterpret as like, oh, she's selling out, but she's not. She's just playing it coy, and like that's what we need. We need people who are like ball breakers, like who are like, no, like I'm gonna go behind the scenes and I'm gonna leverage you,
like highly strategic.
And yeah, that's what she is. Like it's AOC makes a good set. And this is just my read on it, but like one of the reasons why I volunteered to help Kat is because she used to be a bartender in Washington D.C. and AOC used to be a bartender in New York City, and like every woman I know who has worked in hospitality at a high level in places like that are among the smartest people I've ever met. Because you're surrounded by powerful people, mostly men, who feel entitled to be douchebags constantly, and you have to figure out a way to carve out a living without compromising your values. And you know what I mean? Like, so it's horrible. It's a horrible system that is like predicated on like power imbalances, but I think that people like that are very good at like coming to Congress and being like, oh, like what? I have to just,
we already know how to deal with these entitled fucking men. Yeah,
exactly. So like I think AOC is just doing what she knows how to do. And tell me if what I just said is misogynistic in any way, because it was meant to be the opposite. But
no, I did not take it as misogynistic. I can't speak for everyone else because people somehow hear the craziest things regardless, but
I think people are dumb to underestimate people who come from working class backgrounds. That's the point. Especially
women, especially women of color.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I don't know. That's why I never understood why people get hung up on the DEI thing. It's like you want diversity like everywhere because it makes you stronger. Period. It makes every place stronger.
Well, also like diversity is necessary for like genetically speaking. We need diverse gene pools and migration in order to have like survival of the fittest genes. We don't need a bunch of inbreds. Like that's what's so weird to me about this like anti-immigration sentiment, because that is how humans have survived, by being able to migrate and by being able to like mix genetically.
Yeah, totally. There's this one of my good friends. Well, she's not my good friend, but she's she's become a friend. I did a Chicago handshake with her named June Sternbach. I want to get her on the on Party Crashers. She has this podcast about birtherism, and about also it's about there's also one called Kill the Computer, which is about like how tech oligarchs are ruining everything. But her podcast on birtherism is very very interesting because it talks about the like inherent contradictions with the movement that's obsessed with preserving birth rates and also what the point you just made and a bunch of other stuff. Like it's just these people are all full of shit. Like one of the reasons why like the population in America is shrinking is because, you know, immigration was a large part in how we continued to have an influx of people who were willing to come and work, you know? Like immigrants work harder than anybody. It drives me nuts though that like, you know, I guarantee anybody who voted for MAGA, if they thought that ICE was going to come, had the possibility of coming to raid them, they would not have showed up to work every single day. Like the people who in my neighborhood showed up to do their job every single day, despite the fact that we knew that there was ICE in the neighborhood. Like no one was ever late. No one ever called out sick. It's crazy. That is insane work ethic. Like,
yeah,
you know,
I mean, like thinking about some of the days that they would go and take landscapers, and so like we would have to drive around looking for landscapers, telling them go home, and then we'd have to like if you have to send your landscaper home, please try to pay them still, like if you can, you know. It's like, yeah, people. I mean, and also just I think people get used to living under fear, like, and they just have to take the risk. It's also fucked.
yeah.
So fucked.
So can you tell me about this Iran deal?
Yeah.
Because I'm so like overwhelmed by
Everyone is so confused by it because it is very fucking confusing. But yes, let me pull up. Let's do Al Jazeera. So basically, we haven't seen it in writing yet. Okay, Israeli attacks just killed 4 people in southern Lebanon. High stakes showdown. Iran is demanding that Israel pull out from Lebanon. So this is the issue that I'm hearing so far, is that there was some sort of agreement, but Israel is not part of it.
okay.
And Iran is like, no, like Israel needs to leave Lebanon alone. Also, I'm hearing that we are going to pay with something like $300 billion to rebuild, in addition to like the billions we're spending every single day. But let me find a good what to know about the peace deal. Okay. Do you want me to share screen?
Please.
Okay.
For those of you just joining us on any platform, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on TikTok, we're on Substack, we're on Instagram Live. Please be sure to check us out on Substack, YouTube, or Twitch. It is those are the only 3 platforms where we're not actively being suppressed. This is called Party Crashers. My friend Meg and I we're basically like back of the class kids who ended up helping out with some pretty good stuff, I think. And yeah, we're just trying to talk about everything that's happening from the point of view is like, hey, we're just like 2 normal people and come hang out. It's fun. So if you want to support us, you can go to our Substack, you can go to our Twitch, drop a follow, or YouTube. You won't miss our stuff there. Sorry, Meg. I had to do the shameless plug.
No worries. You're better at that than me. I never think to do that. Okay. So this is by Al Jazeera. It came out yesterday, but things are constantly changing. So we'll see. But as of yesterday, here is what they know about the US-Iran peace deal. Iran and the United States have agreed to a memorandum of understanding to end more than 100 days war, with Tehran saying the agreement includes Lebanon, which has been under intense Israeli attacks since March 2nd, mediated by Pakistan and Qatar. The deal will be formally signed in Geneva on Friday. How is Trump going to get to Geneva? I don't know how he's alive. Okay. U.S. President Donald Trump said the Strait of Hormuz, which has been under a de facto Iranian blockade, will open to all shipping on Friday, while Tehran said the U.S. naval blockade on its ports will be lifted immediately. Blah, 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 blah. Here's what to know. Okay, before we get into this, actually, I don't know if I'm just going to show you a video. So we all know that Trump is like demented, like actually demented. But the reason these deals have been so confusing, on one hand, I think like insider, trading is happening. But on the other issue, here is, I'm going to just show you this video. Share screen. So, because like this is the framework I feel like we're working from, but so that's why it's like very hard to know. I'm going to pick, let's do this. Okay. Can you pull up my screen, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Oh, I love this guy. What's his name? He always does like the Trump is gonna die thing.
Yeah, I actually started following him on TikTok. Him and his wife had an account because his wife is autistic. And so when I first got my diagnosis, I watched their stuff all the time. And then he started doing this content. And I'm like, this is so great. I love all of his content. Okay.
Experienced
That's great.
psychologists in their negotiations with the American president because they know he has dementia. I'm a physical therapist with a doctorate in my field and 14 years experience working in home health care, treating geriatric patients with dementia, like that motherfucker.
Sources told me a couple of weeks ago that the Iranian side added senior psychologists to their negotiating team to review the communications that they were going to be sending to the mediators to give to Trump. And they did that because the Iranians believe that Trump is legitimately mentally ill and is operating in an impaired mental state. And they didn't say this as a joke. They didn't say this with any lightness. They said, we recognize that we are dealing with a mentally incapacitated individual, and we've had senior psychologists work up a psychological profile of what they think is going on in Trump's brain. And so started to cater our messages by running them past senior psychologists before delivering them to Trump. And they said that we started to then see some progress. They almost talked about it like a clinical sense, like they're dealing with a patient. See some progress in the negotiations. And I've also heard from sources that mediators, right now you have Qatar involved in a very deep way. You have Pakistan remaining involved. You have Turkey, Saudi Arabia, that some of the mediating countries are also starting to become deeply concerned that Trump is totally erratic, and that when they have conversations with him, that Trump is saying, yes, I'm agreeing to these things. They then double check, so we can take this now back to the Iranians. Yes, you can. And then they do it. And the Iranians, there's an exchange of ideas. And then things like this happen where Trump says, oh, no, that's nothing what I agreed to.
I would bet my left fucking kidney that those psychologists' profile that they have constructed to explain his behavior is that he has a malignant narcissist personality disorder and frontotemporal dementia. Based on this reporting, there is basically no connection between what Donald Trump publicly says about the negotiations and what conversations or idea exchanges have actually occurred between our two nations. And it is because his brain is shrinking inside of his goddamn skull. At this point, he's on 50 days of borrowed time. Who did he borrow the time from? Amarantha, from when he should have been pushed down the stairs in his house like he did to his wife, then impeached, or they should have finished the process of invoking the 25th Amendment. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Okay. So I'm always thinking about this kind of information when we're getting updates on Iran. Like, I don't think we have any reliable information, honestly. Like, I really don't know. And that's what I feel like is so scary. So yeah, apparently there is a deal coming. Who knows if Trump will even remember? JD Vance credited Trump's diplomacy with Gulf countries and other regional partners for helping bring about the deal. What the president has done is create the real space to transform that region, Vance said to Fox News. Excuse me? Excuse me? Why are you still sucking his dick, dude? Like, I can't. I literally cannot.
It's insane to me that like this is how we've been relegated to the dumbest fucking people with the least equipped to be making these decisions in human history. You know?
Yeah. So apparently the draft agreement contains 14 points, which is a permanent and immediate cessation of hostilities on all fronts, including Lebanon, the complete lifting of the naval blockade within 30 days, a U.S. commitment to withdraw forces from around Iran, and the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. It also mentions the suspension of sanctions on oil sales, reaching a final agreement on nuclear issues within 60 days of signing the deal, and a release of $24 billion in frozen Iranian assets during the 60-day negotiation period. So what was this war for, though? We still don't actually know, like, what they're saying the reason is.
Yeah, no, it's because but we kind of know what the reason is, right?
Well, we know that they just like wanted oil and resources from Iran, and also because Donald Trump is like dying to use a nuclear weapon. Like,
do you think he will use a nuclear weapon? Because I've talked to a lot of people who are convinced that it's going to happen at some point, that he is so unwell that it's an inevitability. And I'm curious if you subscribe to the idea that it's an inevitability that he will do it, or it's just a possibility.
well, let's pull up another video by our friend who we just watched, because he had some thoughts on this, and I agree with. I mean, I just will defer. Let's see. Can you pull up my screen again?
Yes. I have some OPSEC issues going on right now, but it's fine.
Oh wait, let me I have to redo it so I can turn on audio. Okay.
All right, here we go. We got it. Ready?
Use a nuclear weapon because he really wants to. And this is typical for a malignant narcissist, especially one with frontotemporal dementia. I'm a physical therapist with a doctorate in my field and 14 years experience working in home health care, treating geriatric patients with dementia and a healthy dose of narcissism here and there. I have to keep my voice down a little bit because I'm watching several small children, but I will not be watching my fucking language. But he posted another fake social post about negotiations with the Iranian government, which are never true. And then he works in this threat. If it doesn't work out, we have the ultimate alternative, hopefully never to be used again. That is a direct reference to a nuclear weapon. Just the other morning, he said this on Fox News.
You'll talk to them, but you're slowly squeezing them to death. Yeah. I'm talking to them. Hey, I'm sort of like, I mean, I'd like to get a deal now, less than 3 or 4 weeks to go, because once you do this, you could just go a step further. But I don't know that America has the appetite to do what I would really much prefer doing. You remember?
He says, I don't know if the country has the appetite to do what I would rather do. He's referring to a nuclear strike. I want you to hear from Dr. John Gardner, a clinical psychologist who used to be faculty at Johns Hopkins Medical School.
So when you say you believe Donald Trump will be responsible for more deaths than Hitler, what do you mean? Do you really mean you think he'll use the nuclear weapon and drop
I believe that he will use nuclear weapons. I believe it'll be a first strike.
Jesus Christ.
Because he wants to. He wants to. And that's what people don't understand. When he's reveling and comparing himself to these world conquerors, narcissists feel most powerful and gratified when they are destroying things. Right? They gain their sense of power through omnipotent destructiveness. They love to blow things up and harm people and dominate people and destroy because that makes them feel powerful. But people don't even recognize this, and we keep forgetting about this. Iran had actually offered him everything he wanted in the deal before he went to war. They offered to get rid of their nuclear, their enriched uranium, which is what we wanted. But he didn't want to win the peace. He wanted to go to war.
His frontotemporal dementia is lifting all inhibition of his malignant narcissism, which requires the domination and destroying of things and people to feel normal. At this point, he's on 51 days of borrowed time. Who did he borrow the time from? Micah Domitus, when he should have defecated his liver into his diaper, been impeached, or they should have finished the process of invoking the 25th Amendment. Thank you for your attention to this matter. He is going to use a nuclear weapon because
So,
he
yeah.
really wants to.
I think it's just scary. It's hard to take it seriously. And also just knowing that like we should have never been there in the first place. I do wonder if part of this is being helped out by the war powers resolutions actually starting to pass through the House and Senate. But I don't know. And I don't know that we can control Netanyahu and what Netanyahu wants to do. Because if they want all hostilities in Lebanon done, like we are going to have to stop sending them weapons then. Is that going to happen? Are we going to like commit to not sending Israel weapons as long as they continue to violate the agreement? Like, I just don't know.
That's a good question. Hey, that's a good question, and that's part of the reason why I think that it's important that we hit those. We make sure that those are outlined in any future conversation. Sorry, our chat is lighting up right now from
is
Twitch.
it?
Yeah. So, hi, we are looking at the agreement with Iran. What's up, Chicago Bish?
Hey, friend.
She's first, and then we have Swank the Demon. Says, which news sources do y'all use, if you don't mind me asking? Meg is the brains of that department. Meg, thoughts?
So when it comes to like Middle East stuff, I tend to prefer Al Jazeera. I like to look at multiple, like, just to kind of see what the New York Times says. Then I know the New York Times is going to be like heavily biased one way, and I'll just kind of look at what everyone's saying and try to, find the truth. But I do like Al Jazeera for especially like world news.
Al Jazeera is solid. BBC Global News. Germany has a good news media also. Sometimes they have a lot of blind spots. I think Der Spiegel, though, is a pretty good. They do very good investigative reporting based on what I've seen. I'm not really a journalist person. Like, I don't really know as much about sources. But, Mag, what do you think of the BBC?
I mean, the BBC has done a lot of the same messed up things when it comes to covering Palestine.
Yeah.
But I also think like the BBC is still more reliable than a lot of American media. It just sucks that we have such a hard time getting truthful information. Another thing, like I'm on Telegram, what are they called? Channels, feeds.
Oh, really?
For like the Middle East. A lot of it is in like Arabic though, so I don't really understand what's happening, but they send videos and they have like just like on the ground updates. But I'm also seeing that Israel says it takes Palestinian control over the Hebron Holy Site, which is.
Wait. Did you just freeze? I think you froze, Meg.
Did I freeze?
Oh, no, you're unfrozen now. You're unfrozen. It's good.
Okay. Okay, so Israeli attacks kill 4 in southern Lebanon today. Drone attacks targeted 2 vehicles. And then an attack on a village square. A 3rd vehicle was also targeted.
Oh, it's freezing and unfreezing. Keep me updated. Keep us updated. Hang on, Mag. I'm going to do something really quickly. Hey, everybody, we're going to do a quick... I want to see if this will help. 1 second. Yeah, okay, good. So now I'm back on wired connection. Okay, Matt, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, so much for letting us know how things are going. Swanky the Demon, Swank the Demon. Thanks for joining our chat. If you're on Instagram or TikTok, sorry, there's nothing we can do for you. We're only looking at our chats on Twitch, YouTube, and Substack because we get banned everywhere else pretty quickly. So you were saying, Meg, about keep telling me about what's going on top line with the
Yeah, so Smotrich, fucking Smotrich, who Israel's finance minister, says he stripped Palestinians of authority over the Ibrahimi Mosque in the occupied West Bank city of Hebron.
Ugh, God, what a prick.
I feel like, how can we, like, what? This peace talk doesn't mean anything as long as we're still sending weapons to Israel and they're committing war crimes. They're still taking areas. Their occupation of the West Bank continues to get worse. Settler violence is horrible.
Can I frame Bezalel Smotrich? First of all, I just want to say something. I'm sorry. Do you mind if I cut you off real quick?
Please.
So there's something that most people need to understand about Bezalel Smotrich. First of all, he is an openly homophobic, admitted homophobic fascist. So every time Chuck Schumer and Dan Goldman say that they're advocates of pride, please go out of your way to ask them why are they
can denounce Smotrich as badly as they denounce Hassan Piker.
Yeah, ask him to do that. But here's the thing about Bezalel Smotrich that is not reported in the Western media. And I'm trying to find the video of the Mossad agent that arrested him in interview. Because Bezalel Smotrich, and when we say Bezalel Smotrich is a terrorist, I'm not using hyperbole to characterize that. Here, I found it. It took me forever. Let me share my screen here because Bezalel Smotrich is part of an extremist wing. They will not stop on their own accord because they're extremists in the truest sense of the word. Most people don't know that there is now people are becoming aware of the fact, but there has been a history of extremist Zionists in Israel who have committed on behalf of extremist Zionists have committed acts of terror. And there have been plots that have been broken up by people like this guy who's in Mossad, who's Shin Bet is like the kind of like the FBI. They're like supposed to limit the scope of their investigations to internal Israeli stuff. Obviously, they do a lot of abusive things on behalf of imperialism and Israel to suppress and hurt the Palestinian people. But I think it's interesting, though, that this guy is going to talk about Bezalel Smotrich and what a danger he is to Israeli society and people in general.
Mm-hmm.
Could you describe what is the reality for Palestinians here?
A life of people who dream about freedom and don't see it. Whether we like it or not, we control the life of millions.
If you were a Palestinian living in the West Bank or Gaza, what would your view be of Israel?
I would fight against Israel in order to achieve my liberty.
How would you fight? How dirty?
I would do everything in order to achieve my liberty, and that's it.
How powerful are Ben-Gvir and Smotrich, and what do you think of them?
I see them as terrorists and as Jewish messianics. They represent only a small minority within the Israeli society, but they get their power because of our coalition system.
But can I just check something? Are you calling the Minister for National Security and the Minister for Finance in Israel, are you calling them terrorists?
Of course, they are.
Okay, and when he says that they're terrorists, he does not mean that in the sense that they are using terror to politically. I mean, they are terrorists in the sense that they are using terror to achieve political aims, which is technically the definition of terrorism. And they are doing that now from positions of power, but their origins are in terrorism. Perfect example. This is how Ben Gvir became famous.
סמל הוא סמל, ומסמל שכמו שאנחנו הגענו לסמל הזה...
He stole Yitzhak. Do you know the story, Meg?
No, I don't know the story.
This is how Ben Gvir became famous in 1996. And yes, Swank the Demon, you're absolutely right. There is an overwhelming support for the kind of policies that Ben Gvir and Smotrich have disseminated into Israeli society. And just to be clear, neither Meg nor I support anti-Semitism in any way, shape, or form. And if we ever see that among our community, you will not be a member of it ever. One strike and you are out. And anti-Zionism is a completely different ideology that we both subscribe to. So this is how Itmar Ben Gvir became. No, I know you're not anti-Semitic, Swank. I wasn't saying that to you. I was just saying that we just want to make clear because there's For You pages and stuff, and people come. But yeah, no, you're good. We love the conversation. We're really glad you joined us today. Welcome. Chicago Bish is she's gonna love you. So Itmar Ben Gvir, sorry, Meg, I got ADHD.
I know.
Itmar Ben Gvir went basically the 1995 version of viral because he stole the hood ornament of then Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin's Cadillac, which he is holding in this interview. And I will tell you what happened after.
אנחנו יכולים להגיע לרבין. אפשר לתקוף את המכוניתו של ראש הממשלה, אפשר לתקוף שר...
Sorry.
סמל הוא סמל, ומסמל שכמו שאנחנו הגענו לסמל הזה, אנחנו יכולים להגיע לרבין. אפשר לתקוף את המכוניתו של ראש הממשלה, אפשר לתקוף שר ולהסתובב כאן חופשי. כאשר ראש הממשלה עושה דברים כאלה חמורים, אני חושב שבהחלט אפשר לעשות מעשים חמורים נגדו. סמל הוא סמל, ומסמל שכמו שאנחנו הגענו לסמל הזה...
He goes on to say in that interview, he stole that hood ornament from Yitzhak Rabin's. Oh, no worries, Chicago Bish. Drive safe. He goes on to say in that interview that we got his hood ornament, which means that we can get him. And then a week later, an extremist Zionist assassinated Yitzhak Rabin, who hung out with Ben Gvir. And Ben Gvir, you know about the poster that he used to have on his wall, right, Meg? Okay. So there's this sect. And this is, and by the way, the reason what that Mossad Shin Bet guy was saying was that the reason why Ben Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich have so much power is because Benjamin Netanyahu is completely compromised politically. He is corrupt. He has all-time low approval ratings. And if he can build a coalition in a coalition system, he can maintain power because so he has to continue to capitulate to the Ben Gvirs and the Bezalel Smotriches. Netanyahu is an extremist. He's a malignant narcissist and a sociopath. Don't get it twisted. And the reason why these guys have so much power is because he is so corrupt and he's going to jail if he gets out of power.
And that's exactly like an issue too, is that if there's peace, then they can go through, like they have tried to get him out of office so many times. He's literally like a criminal within the Israeli government. And so he doesn't want peace because he needs to keep capitulating because he'll do anything to stay in power and to avoid accountability, just like Donald Trump, who is doing everything he can because he knows that he's said it himself. If the Democrats take the majority, I'm going to jail. Like,
yeah, no,
it's the same thing with Netanyahu. He knows that if he doesn't have all of these people around him, and like, then he is going to The Hague.
Oh, TikTok, if you're joining us, we just got our first ban warning. So if you like what we're doing, there's 3 of you watching right now. Please join us on other platforms. As you know, Larry Ellison is a huge fan of Itmar Ben Gvir and the IOF. But yeah, so Itmar Ben Gvir, I'm going to show you a little bit more about what he subscribes to. ideology, mass murder. I don't know what we'll be able to get past the mods, but let's see here. He is definitely a fascist. I'm trying to find so one of the things that he basically became radicalized during the first Intifada, which was the first attempt at Palestinian resistance. And he has since been a virulent ethno-nationalist Israeli fascist. His most recent claim to disgusting fame was his support of the measure to basically unalive Palestinian prisoners without trial. But
I mean,
let's
his birthday cake had a fucking noose on it. They all wore noose pens. It is so disgusting. It is so disgusting.
this is it. The people that you don't hear about a lot from Western media, this is the Wikipedia article for Baruch Goldstein, who is somebody that Itamar Ben-Gvir was a humongous fan of. He had a portrait of this man from Brooklyn in his living room for a very long time. And this man was he unalived 29 people and injured 125 in the Cave of the Patriarchs, which is a religious pilgrimage that Muslims take in Palestine to celebrate one of their holidays. He was dressed in an Israeli military uniform. He entered the cave and he did one of the most horrendous mass shootings anywhere in 1994. This is about a year before Ben-Gvir made that video where he grabbed Yitzhak Rabin's hood ornament. And the reason why Yitzhak Rabin, who was a prime minister of Israel, was assassinated was because he had recently signed the Norway Accords with what's his name? Bill Clinton and Yasser Arafat, which divorced from the actual viability of that peace deal, which, you know, was the first time in 35 years we were going to have the copium of the two-state solution, which we've now heard from every do-nothing Democrat for the last 33 years. That was something that really pissed off the basically the fascists, like this guy. So this element of Jewish terrorism, which you know, this is kind of how it was all founded, right? In 1948, there were Zionist militant groups. There was an insurgency. Ben Gurion, who was the first president of Israel, the airport in Tel Aviv is named after him, was a partisan insurgent.
You know, in Chicago, we have a Ben Gurion Way.
Yeah, I do know that, actually. We also have a Yitzhak Rabin Way. And as you can see here, there is a long history of this kind of violence. So that's why when people like that, I really respect, you know, like I don't know that I get a beer with this guy, with Ami Ayelan, but oh, hang on a second, sorry. I should put my phone on do not disturb, huh? I don't know that I would want to get a beer with this guy, with Ami Ayelan. He was this Shin Bet ex-chief. There's no doubt that he certainly has skeletons in his closet, and that he has done a lot of horrible things. But I do really think
an asset, though.
No, that's exactly what I mean. Like, I do think that we need imperfect allies, and he creates. I think what he's doing is very courageous in the light of what he's done, and he is an outspoken critic of. He has gone out of his way to denounce Bezalel Smotrich and Itamar Ben-Gvir for their past crimes, which both of them have committed crimes. Like, I'm trying to find the interview where he talks about what Ben-Gvir was doing. And he also talks about oh, here we go. Perfect. He talks about Bezalel Smotrich, who had been arrested on terrorism charges in Israel. He was one of the people that arrested them. So when he says that they're terrorists, he is not saying that in the sense that what they are doing now is terrorism. He is
Like
saying
they're
that
legally terrorists.
they are literally terrorists. And there is a good documentary on Showtime, Mount Plot. There was a plot, and I think that here we go. This is it's called The Gatekeepers. It was a documentary where they had interviewed this guy at length about different things that he had done when he was the chief investigator of Shin Bet. So obviously there was a disproportionate amount of time spent on Palestinian resistance. And to his credit, he also discussed the problem with Zionist extremism. And in the 80s, he and Shin Bet had to break up a plot from Zionist extremists, Messianic Zionists like Ben Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich, who were not part of this particular plot, but they wanted to blow up the Temple Mount, which is where, like, the pilgrimage, you know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure it's where people kiss the wall and all that stuff. I don't know if it's the same building, but they were going to blow it up because they wanted to usher in the second coming. Like, so when this guy's saying they're terrorists, he's like, he's not being hyperbolic. He's being dead serious. Like, he's not being hyperbolic in the least. Like, literally.
שהיה חכם למרות שלא היה יהודי, לפחות לא גילינו את מקורותיו היהודיים, אמר לפני כמעט 200 שנה דבר שאני מתרגם אותו לעברית וקצת מעווה, אבל בגדול הוא אמר, ניצחון זה בסך הכל לייצר מציאות מדינית טובה יותר. זה ניצחון. ניצחון לא בהכרח מכתיב לנו שצריכים לכבוש את עזה, או את רמאללה, או את שכם, או את חברון. אני חושב שהבן שלי, ששירת, לא יודע, 3 או 3.5 שנים בצנחנים, השתתף בכיבוש שכם לפחות 2-3. זה הביא לנו ניצחון? לדעתי לא. לא, האם זה קרב אותנו למצב מדיני טוב יותר? הטרגדיה של הדיון הציבורי הביטחוני הישראלי, שאנחנו לא מבינים שיש מצב מאוד מתסכל, שבו בכל קרב אנחנו מנצחים, אבל במלחמה אנחנו מפסידים.
Every single time.
Klaus?
Every single time. And this guy understands, and like I said, I got my problems with what he just said, but this is why when people say, like when Hassan Piker says that today Israel's approval rating is at an all-time high, and every day that passes it will only get lower, is because people understand that what they are doing is fundamentally wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And even people within their society and subject matter hearing that we went to for HR 2723, where there was a former Israeli Supreme Court justice who said that what is being done in the name of what people are speciously and inaccurately calling on behalf of Jewish Americans. And he said, don't use that name to characterize what we're doing, what's being done there. They don't support it. And I know that Swank the Demon, you're right. The public polling in Israel suggests that there's an overwhelming percentage of the population that does, in fact, support what's happening in Gaza. And there are people who have been speaking out that were a part of this and have realized that it's horrible. So anyway, sorry, Meg. I kind of got us off the track there, but this is the reason why, like Schumer and like Dan Goldman being like, I didn't know Yitzhak, I didn't know that Bezalel Smotrich was going to be at the parade. It's like, dude, you should have never fucking been in that parade, because Bezalel Smotrich is in charge of Israel right now for all intents and purposes. And he is a terrorist, period. End of sentence. Okay, sorry, I'm done cooking now.
No, you're good. No,
that was informative. Tell me if I went on too long. I just think
no, that was great. It's all very important context, because I think a lot of people just get stuck at the current Bibi's Israel under Bibi, and like this has been going on since 1948, since the Nakba. And now it's So what I'm seeing now is that Trump says that Netanyahu needs to be more responsible in Lebanon.
Ooh.
Because he's not happy with Israel's invasion and handling of Hezbollah, which is so stupid because just 2 weeks ago, there was a war powers resolution introduced by Representative Rashida Tlaib for Lebanon. And the day before, the Iran war powers resolution passed, but the Lebanon one would not, because so many of our members are like, what are we going to do about Hezbollah? Anyways, so Iran warns any Israeli attack on Lebanon or continued occupation of its territory will constitute a violation of the agreement with the United States. But Netanyahu says that they will continue to occupy Lebanon despite the agreement. So what I'm seeing is the agreement is null.
Seriously?
If the agreement hinges on Israel leaving Lebanon and Netanyahu is saying we're not leaving Lebanon, then there is no agreement, right?
Yeah. So he's like, yeah. So, oh God. So they're going to go. So Israel's been involved in was involved in conflict in Lebanon longer than we were in Vietnam. From 1980, I think it was from 1979 to 2006.
Well,
maybe?
they've been trying to take the whole region, the Greater Israel Project.
Yeah. But they had a forever war in Lebanon. Like they were occupying parts of Lebanon for over 25 years. So the fact that they're going back is absolutely, and the fact that our peace deal hinges. So repeat that again. So they need Lebanon. They don't want a ceasefire if it involves a ceasefire in Lebanon.
So basically, Iran is saying that the peace agreement includes that Israel needs to stop occupying Lebanon and to leave Lebanon alone. Trump is saying Netanyahu is being very irresponsible with its handling of Hezbollah. And Netanyahu is saying we're not leaving Lebanon. So there's going to be it doesn't matter what the US and Iran agree to if Netanyahu's going to do whatever he wants. And if we're going to send them bombs anyways, we need to block the bombs. How do we get more people to sign on to the Block the Bombs app? Block the bombs.
I don't know. I don't think that I don't know, man. I'm like
the bombs.
It's literally, it's extremism. It's just pure militaristic jingoism. And it's like, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Chuck Schumer's in his 80s now, and he still thinks that it's 1968, and that the 6-Day War was 6 days ago. And you could argue whether or not Israel ever had an existential threat, because they had Western backing for literally their entire history of their intelligence apparatus and nuclear program and all that stuff. So I don't think that there was ever a question of Israeli existence, at least not given the amount of support that they received from Western power, just historically. But I mean, like, Chuck Schumer is he's just not open to the argument. He becomes more and more entrenched in his thinking, like most 75 to, most 45 to, most 25 to 85-year-old men become more and more entrenched in their thinking as they get promoted for jobs that reward it, right? So he has no incentives to change because, he'll be retiring at some point in the next 10 years. So, as long as he's in charge, I don't think that there will be a Block the Bombs Act unless somebody in the Democratic Party, anybody, gets elected who is going to just do everything in their power to get him out.
I'm sharing my screen really quick.
Okay.
Can you push it up?
Yes.
Okay, this is the Block the Bombs Act. Basically,
wait,
no
Meg,
more
we're so
bombs.
in sync right now when you see my drawing.
Oh yeah.
Dude, it's creepy. Seriously, it's like really weird that you pulled this up. Because I started drawing this like 10 minutes ago, but love, keep going, cook.
Okay, so here are all of the sponsors, the co-sponsors to the Block the Bombs Act, which is a pretty decent amount of sponsors. Like,
Holy cow.
and just because somebody isn't on the list doesn't mean they haven't agreed to a yes vote. They just might, for whatever political purposes, not be willing to put their name as a co-sponsor. So to me, there's like no reason we should not be pushing this so hard right now, because that is a good list for Block the Bombs. Like,
It's a great list. Who's somebody who is not blocking the bombs?
well, let's see. Pick a name.
Are these the people that are against it?
These are the ones who are co-sponsors.
Who's pushing against it?
Well, I bet you Chuck Schumer. Are these
Mike-
just Oh, these are just House members. Okay, this is for
See if see who in the House is against it. Otherwise I think I'm gonna make a phone call to Jim Himes.
okay.
I have something to ask him on behalf of the American people.
That is true. We do have that. Okay, let's see.
But I want to keep this going with. I actually kind of want to ask him about. I kind of want to call Dan Goldman's office and see if. Actually, he would definitely be against block the bombs. He's yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So. Oh, cool. So, hey, if you guys want to know who's supporting Block the Bombs, like, be sure to call. If you see your representative, yes, absolutely. Thank you, Chicago Bish. She gets it. We want everybody to, in our community, if you can, make a phone call to Congress, do something, help somebody out. I think Meg and I both have, there's easier ways to try and, go through life, but we're both pretty committed to helping people out if we can. And we also believe that, we're not influencers or anything, or creators for that matter. We're just hanging out with you all, our community. And I think that if we build a good one, then we can do some good stuff. So I dropped the link in the Mag. Sorry if I got preachy there. You got to call me out for shit like that.
Oh, dude, no, you're good. I'm just looking at when there was a vote to block weapons for Israel. Here's who voted no. Michael Bennett of Colorado, Blumenthal, Cory Booker, Maria Cantwell, Chris Coons, Catherine Cortez Masto, Fetterman, Gillibrand, Maggie Hassan, Hickenlooper, Padilla, Gary Peters, Jackie Rosen, Adam Schiff, Chuck Schumer, Mark Warner, and Ron Wyden.
Let me call Mark Warner. Did you say he's against it? Sorry.
This was for like some other, this wasn't for Block the Bombs, but this was for like another joint resolution of disapproval weapon sales to Israel. This was last year. So I can't find anything from like more recently, but let's see who voted no on the Lebanon War Powers resolution. Okay. Who voted no? Democrats who voted no. Aguilar. Vote no. Party Democrat. Okay. Aguilar, Beatty, Bell, Barra, Bishop, Boyle, Brownlee, Budzinski, fuck her. Case Caston. Fuck you, Caston. He's trying to act woke now. Castor, that's not surprising. Cisneros, Clark, Cohen, Conaway. That's a long list of people who voted no, actually, like a really long list. They're all at fault for why we can't have peace, because if we're not going to have a war powers resolution for Lebanon, if we're not going to stop sending military aid to Israel, then none of this is going to stop, and our gas prices are going to keep going up. What do they not understand about this?
They just blocked us on TikTok for bullying and harassment. So
Who are we bullying or harassing?
I don't know. Oh, there we go. Restricted visibility. There it is. TikTok. If you want to find us, you can find us in the links in our bio. Hey, Austin Archer. Big fan of Austin's work. If you don't follow him, people on other platforms, be sure to do that. He's a good dude. He was one of the people fighting against not eligible for recommendation. Does not comply with the For You feed. Thank you. Thank you, Ellisons. I love that. Okay, let's give Mark Warner a call. If you're on TikTok, do us a favor and follow us elsewhere. We do not love this place anymore. Sorry, I'm trying to end this live and then I'm going to make a prank call. So end live, and now good. Okay. Thank you. Now I can say fuck you, Larry Ellison, very much. So we're going to call Mark Warner's office because it sounds like he is a no on block the bombs, and I'm also going to teach. We're also going to be discussing tomorrow during a hearing what he is doing to help Stephen Miller and Donald Trump surveil us. Mag, did I remember that correctly?
Oh, I mean, my kids were jumping all over me when we were talking about that. So basically, yeah, Stephen Miller and Donald Trump want to surveil us, and he is helping them. He's on their side.
Hi, this is Stephen Miller. You know what you don't understand, Pete? No, I can't do it. Wait, I got it.
Thank you for calling Senator Warner's office. If you'd like to leave an opinion for the senator, please press 1.
Never press 1.
Speak with a member of the senator's staff, please press 2.
Yo.
What?
Federal agents raided the home of a legal observer in Minnesota, and at least one person was arrested.
Seriously?
Yeah. Alleging they're connected to Antifa. I'll wait till you're done with that, but let me pull this info up.
Jesus, it's like calling an internet company with this guy. So for those of you who are unaware, all right, I'm going to try Jim Himes' office. It's always easier to get in touch with House than it is Senate. Here we go. 202-225-5541.
A call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 120222.
Dude, I wonder if they have this number blocked now.
I doubt it. You're not that important.
No, I don't think so either, but it's just worth
And they can't do that. They can't block.
Well,
block the public.
Yeah, hang on a second. Congressional directory. There's also a congressional directory phone number that's just like a general number. You also, if you want to call a particular senator and you don't live in their district, you should definitely have an idea of what the it's 202-225-3121. You should always have an idea of what your zip code is, because a lot of times they'll ask you what your zip code is. So I'm going to go with 06901, which is Stamford, Connecticut, where Jim Himes is obviously his district. It's where his campaign office is. It's funny because the congressional directory. Hi, Jim Himes' office, please.
One moment, please.
Thank you, miss. Always be nice to the. Yeah, you all are heroes.
Dude.
You're good. We still love you, Swank.
After you're done with this,
Thank you for reaching out to the office of Congressman Jim Himes. Our office is currently closed. However, if you're reaching out regarding a federal issue, legislation, or constituent.
Are they off work today?
maybe. Do you want to watch the live press conference of the DOJ announcing Minnesota anti-ICE conspiracy charges? They just arrested 15 people.
Yes. Where is that going?
I'll share my screen.
Jesus Christ. Are you serious?
Yeah.
We live in oh God.
Okay. This just started 20 minutes ago. So I'm
Today,
just
a
starting from
federal
the beginning.
indictment was unsealed, charging 15 defendants with conspiracy to impede or injure federal officers and other charges related to efforts of two Minneapolis-based Antifa groups that violently opposed the enforcement of federal law in our state. The defendants are members and associates of Direct Action Minnesota. They are charged with conspiracy to impede or injure a federal officer, solicitation to commit a crime of violence, interstate threats, interstate stalking, assault on a federal officer, and destruction of government property.
Let's see the fucking evidence.
Earlier this morning, agents of Homeland Security Investigations conducted a coordinated law enforcement operation culminating in the arrest of 12 of the 15 defendants. One defendant had already been in custody on other federal charges. Two defendants remain fugitives at large. Today's charges and arrests reflect a broad federal effort to address organized lawless behavior which seeks to disrupt the execution of federal law, endanger law enforcement, and importantly, endanger the very communities that these defendants falsely claim to be protecting. Be assured, the Department of Justice and my U.S. Attorney's Office has and will distinguish.
Matt, can you send me the link to this? We'll put it on my computer because yours is a little jumpy.
Okay.
Are you fucking kidding me? This is if you don't think that they're gonna steal the election, people, there's only one reason that they do this. And it's because they're going to be putting ice in the elections.
Yeah. Do you want to pull it up? I just sent you the link.
One second. Sorry, I got it. What the this is unbelievable. I'm kind of pretty shook about this, aren't you?
Yeah.
Where's my YouTube stupid thing? There it is.
I have to head out in like 15 minutes, just so you know. But
Okay, do it. Yeah.
did you start it at the beginning? Oh yeah, rewind and then bounce a couple of minutes.
You see here a Facebook post from one of the defendants. What they did. They all joined an agreement, a conspiracy, to interfere with lawful immigration enforcement operations. The conspiracy was not to interfere by their voice, but to do it by force. That's a crime, and it will not be tolerated in the United States. Direct Action Minnesota emphasizes their violent, militant approach to politics and are highly critical of nonviolent, peaceful protests. You see here a Facebook post from one of the defendants, Cameron Kennedy, writing, quote, "We need to become ungovernable." As the name suggests, Direct Action Minnesota is an organization dedicated to direct action against federal law and immigration enforcement. This action is not peaceful. It's obstructive, disruptive, and unlawful. The organization trains its members in the aggressive use of shields against law enforcement, surveillance, operational planning, and rapid mobilization against law enforcement actions. Though investigations are ongoing, what we know now is that Direct Action Minnesota is comprised of members of subgroups. For example, the Black Hat Workers Collective. The Black Hat Workers Collective is a Minneapolis-based Antifa affinity group which advocates, promotes, and utilizes militant tactics and violence. Here you can see that their Facebook cover page shows as a banner the burning down of the Minneapolis Police Department's 3rd precinct.
That's protected free speech. That is protected free speech. Art is protected free speech. It's a back knot.
It's a back massager. I have a knot in my back that I just won't go away.
Swank, you are absolutely right. This is absolutely how they did it in Chile. I know because I was in Chile in 2024 leading up to the election, and I went to the museum about how Pinochet's group consolidated power. This is exactly what they did in Chile. This is exactly what is happening right now. This is exactly what Pinochet did in Chile. Purely. This is terrifying. Because really what they just showed as evidence was they're letting it happen too. Yeah, the Democrats are letting it happen too, because it's good for them too. Because it doesn't, like, the corporate Democrats, like, they don't
want anyone who's gonna push them to do anything.
Guess what company police departments have contracts with? Guess. I'll give you a hint. Starts with a P, ends with an R, and there's an ALANPI in the middle of it, and that is Palantir. And guess who spent $1.9 million from the re-election fund to make sure that a progressive candidate in North Carolina lost? Guess who that was?
Palantir.
Yeah, and guess who they did it with? Hakeem Jeffries. So
that guy.
So if they think that art is Trank, the Dems are they're in on it for sure. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Bish. Wow, this is fucking terrifying. You can get arrested for having a cartoon on your Facebook.
So the
Direct
third
Action
precinct, I
Minnesota.
just want to add context though. The third precinct that they had a picture of, that's the precinct that was burnt down during the George Floyd uprisings. So that's symbolic of, you know, the people were the people were ready to burn it down. That's not a threat. That is something that happened 6 years ago.
It's this is the most I have to this is terrifying. Hang on a second. You can't see my other screen, can you? You can just see the
No.
YouTube.
Yeah, just YouTube.
I'm putting this in some group chats. With my mom.
Defendant Kyle Wagner identifies himself as Antifa, and he doesn't shy away from it.
My name is Kyle. I'm Antifa, and there's so much rage in me that I've had to record this like 15 times trying to get the message out. They fucked up. Okay? Go watch my other videos. Doesn't matter if you're not here and you're not caught up. You've missed the fucking fight. But if you are, it's time to suit up. Boots on the ground. Nicollet and fucking 26th. My house is 4 blocks away. Anywhere between Franklin and Nicollet and 26th and Nicollet. Show up ready to go. Okay? Not talking about peaceful protests anymore. We're not talking about having polite conversations anymore. I am talking specifically to my fucking followers. This is everything I have fucking talked about, and this is exactly what I said was going to happen. This is exactly what I said was going to fucking come when we didn't fucking go and march on fucking Whipple with guns. Sorry, but welcome to America 2026, where Second Amendment is the only thing that's going to keep you fucking protected from literal fucking Nazi gunmen that are killing innocent people in the street with impunity. This is not a fucking joke. There's nothing fun to chant about it. Get your fucking guns and stop these fucking people.
Okay. I don't really like the way that guy framed it, but the Black Panthers used to carry guns just so that the police didn't feel like they could use theirs with impunity.
Well, the thing is, like, I think this is just really stupid OPSEC.
Yeah,
but
it's horrible. It's just the
it's just
dumbest
like,
thing in the
guys,
world.
be fucking smart. I personally hate how many comments I get when it's like, come on, guys, 2A, try. I'm like, you guys are actually stupid. Like,
Yeah.
regardless of how I feel, I agree. Like, the Second Amendment is to protect ourselves against government, correct? I do think that it is inherently violent that we are expected to not have weapons when the state is allowed to have weapons against us. That is inherently violent. However, I would not put up a call to action like that. I also do understand this happened. Renee Good, is that who he's talking about? Happened blocks away from his house. People have emotions. People are allowed to want to protect their communities. How many people are being snatched, taken, kidnapped without their constitutional rights being even a little bit considered? So it's like, that's where the focus should be. Like, we like just talking about like, let's arm up, let's go. It's like we need to be talking about why all the time. Like, we need to talk
exactly. And you need to
why.
deliver. This guy just lost his cool and said a bunch of dumb shit on the internet. And it was, frankly, it's dangerous. It's dangerous and it's stupid because he's not talking about it in like nuanced, like, and I don't blame him because
but also like free speech. He should be allowed to.
No, that's the other thing.
So like,
though.
that's what it comes down to, is like whether or not I agree about the way he went about it. This isn't criminal. It's not criminal. What he's saying is not criminal.
No, he's not inciting, and he's basically telling people to exercise their Second Amendment rights based on what we've seen right now, which again, the Black Panthers used to march with weapons that they used because they said the cops always showed up strapped, and we're just sick of being pushed around and not exercising our constitutional amendments. So this guy, how he delivered this could be frightening, and it still falls within the First Amendment. Like, is a First Amendment absolutist, you have no choice but, and who's promoting the Second Amendment, you have no choice but to put this in the framework of him exercising his constitutional rights. Whether we think it's dumb from like a most effective way to out organize them is divorced from his constitutionally protected speech, which is the whole point of the amendment. You know what I mean? Like, so let's see what else he has to say. Okay, that's the video ended there. Yeah, so that all falls within free speech because he said basically go exercise your Second Amendment rights. And these guys are fucking dumbasses. Oh, can I just say this is why every grand jury has like thrown out one of these cases. It doesn't mean that it's any less traumatic or expensive for people to defend against this kind of specious extra illegal persecution. It's just that there's a reason why no one wants to take a job with the Justice Department right now. It's because only fucking idiots like this guy will take them.
About peaceful protests. His words, not mine. During Operation Metro Surge, Direct Action Minnesota infiltrated and exploited lawful protests to more efficiently carry out its unlawful direct actions, targeting operations involving ICE as well as other federal law enforcement, and as well as other state law enforcement. In order to achieve the ends of the conspiracy, Direct Action Minnesota was highly organized, holding meetings on a regular basis, and engaged in what they called operational security or OPSEC.
Oh.
The indictment unsealed today.
Yeah, my 18-year-old
includes a
godson
focus on 2 days
is an OPSEC.
in which Direct Action Minnesota organized and participated in actions against federal and local law enforcement. On January 23, 2026.
Okay, can you pause?
And on
I want to
March
read
1st,
something and then I got to
2026.
go. I'm going to read something and then I have to go. This is an excerpt from Let This Radicalize You by Mariam Kaba. Highly recommend it. I'm just going to read it and then you can finish watching this without me. But okay. The terms violence and nonviolence don't have static and indisputable definitions. Different people deploy these terms in a wide variety of ways to serve their distinct political purposes. To some people, nonviolence is a strategy, a practice, and an approach, and to others, it is a moral ethos. Popular definitions of violence tend to include property destruction, but under these definitions, the destruction of property is usually viewed as violent only if it disrupts profit or the maintenance of wealth. If food is destroyed because it cannot be sold while people go hungry, that's not considered violent under the norms of capitalism. If a person's belongings are tossed on a sidewalk during an eviction and consequentially destroyed, that is likewise not considered violent according to the norms of this society. Those destructive acts are part of the order of things. As organizers, we are practitioners of nonviolence, but we've also recognized that fetishizing distinctions between violence and nonviolence can lead to the indulgence and rhetoric about good and bad protesters. Where peaceful protesters are celebrated and violent protesters, for example, those who engage in property destruction that disrupts profit, are viewed as disposable and disreputable. This licenses people to care about the cause being protested without caring about what happens to the bad protesters. For example, even as significant numbers of people supported the uprisings following the racist murder of George Floyd, many fewer people vocally defended the rights of the protesters who were arrested for acts of property destruction and funneled into the racist carceral system. In moments of unrest, it's important to remember that, as Martin Luther King Jr. stated, there is no greater purveyor of violence in the world than the U.S. government. From war to policing to incarceration to border violence to the slashing of the social safety net, the U.S. government kills untold millions. The violence of rebellion is infinitesimal by comparison. Moreover, gender-based violence is pervasive in this society, and police officers themselves are 15 times more likely to commit acts of domestic violence than people who are not involved in law enforcement. While it is unusual for police officers to be arrested for acts of domestic violence, one study found that of officers who are charged and convicted of domestic abuse, more than half keep their jobs. Researchers have also found that people who perpetrate incidents of mass violence, such as mass shootings, often have a history of domestic violence. One study argued that prioritizing measures to decrease access to firearms to perpetrators of domestic violence may also reduce the incidence of mass shootings. The frequency with which police kill people, both while on the job and in their own homes, also illustrates this connection between domestic violence and more widespread violence. But the United States is not about to disarm its own police officers. We are surrounded by violence in this society, even under conditions that government authorities would characterize as peaceful, because violence has always been embedded in the norms and functions of this system. Some people blame the uprisings of the late 1960s and early 1970s for the derailment of the civil rights movement, and we saw a resurgence of those arguments in 2020. From people who condemned some forms of protest and discouraged certain illegal acts, but that assignment of blame is ahistorical and erases the responsibility of racist white people who organized en masse to destroy the civil rights movement by using tactics like the formation of the White Citizens Council, which sought to socially and financially suppress Black communities. In addition to enacting physical violence against Black people, it erases the responsibility of the United States government, which ramped up imprisonment, brutality, and assassinations, and launched programs of infiltration and disruption like COINTELPRO to destroy Black-led movements. Racist white people have always lashed out against Black-led movements, and white liberal support for Black-led movements is historically fickle and unreliable. As moments of rebellion subside, even people who support the cause tend to have a short attention span, and criminalized people, often who have been accused of violence, are often left behind. Prison and court support work is usually maintained by small, committed groups of people who are overworked and under-resourced. If we are serious about supporting people who rebel, we must understand that support as a long-term project. We must never abandon our co-strugglers who have been cast as violent and thereby subjected to the violence of the state. Okay, that is all I had to say. I gotta go get lunch, but I will see you all tomorrow.
This was good. Thanks,
All right.
Meg. You're the
Bye,
best.
homies. See y'all later.
If you're just joining us now, I'm going to stay on for another couple minutes, 20 minutes or so. I want to hear what they have to say about the people that were dressed in giraffe costumes. Meg just read a passage that I'd never heard before, but it definitely made me rethink a lot. I mean, it's true. It's really disappointing when you realize history is just a conflation of a bunch of greedy dudes whose parents didn't love them much. And then, you know, everything that they've done since then is to maintain greed. It's really a bummer. Yeah, I'm really concerned though about this because they can, you know, if they're using this to go against this guy who's an idiot, who I don't think that what he did was responsible. I would not, if somebody called me and said, I'm thinking about doing this, I said, no, I don't think that that's the way to go. I don't like violence. I don't like escalating situations. And I also don't feel like I'm in a position to judge him for his character or how he responded to arguably one of the most traumatic things that has happened in this country in 2025, which was the murder of Renee Good by federal officers for peacefully protesting. And if that happened blocks away from my house, I don't know how rationally or irrationally I would be thinking. And divorced from his judgment in a moment when he was emotionally compromised in a completely valid way, he had every right to say what he did. It's free speech. It's free speech to tell people that they have a Second Amendment right. And, you know, it was Alex Petty's Second Amendment right to have a concealed weapon on him because he had a license and a permit, but it doesn't change the fact that he was assassinated by federal agents. And, you know, the fact that they're doing this to these people, these 15 people, and they have used a guy who had experienced a traumatic situation perpetrated by the very people that are prosecuting him, and they are using a picture of a building on fire that has become a symbol for an uprising that took place because another man was assassinated. Really just goes to show you how full of shit these people are and how committed to, like, this guy is just like a career loser. Look at these two mopes. They went to Men's Warehouse, they splurged on a couple of cheap suits, and they finally got the jobs they were never qualified for under a competent administration. Because this fucking guy isn't fit to be an ambulance chaser in rural Arkansas, let alone the U.S. attorney for the state of Minnesota. I'm sorry, period. If you are working for this administration and you have seen the volume of cases that have been thrown out writ large, not only because they didn't have evidence, but because they literally committed prosecutorial misconduct by rigging grand juries, by doing things that are objectively illegal in order to prove their cases. The only people that are still in these jobs are people that are confident that they have no shot working anywhere else. End of story. So anytime I see somebody behind a microphone that says, I am speaking on behalf of the Department of Justice, and we have arrested 15 people for blank, 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 then I react the exact same way that Meg did, which is, where's the evidence? And right now I see a PowerPoint presentation that a 15-year-old could put together on ChatGPT. And I see two mooks who have probably been underemployed rightfully for their entire lives and probably jumped at the idea of putting U.S. attorney for the state of Minnesota on their Match.com profiles. The banality of evil is a phrase that Hannah Arendt came up with when she was describing Adolf Eichmann. This is the mediocrity of evil and the incentive structure that allows people who have been rightfully kept away from positions of power because of their own ineptitude are now promoted because they are the only ones willing to do the job illegally for a illegal incentive structure designed from the top down. Let's listen to what else this fucking mook has to say.
On those days,
also, you can tell that this guy's new to the job because you don't wear a black suit unless you're going to a funeral or you're going to church. Period. You wear dark blues and dark grays in professional setting. This guy's wearing a black suit because it's the only one he owns, because up until then, he was probably the paralegal for a golf course who had to make sure they didn't get sued for people driving golf carts drunk. Give me a fucking break. Look at this mook.
Direct Action Minnesota members
Look at this guy.
deployed what they called hard and soft blockades against federal law enforcement.
This guy looks like he chews on John Fetterman's rocks and spits them into his mouth.
As well as against Hennepin County Sheriff's deputies. Direct Action Minnesota shut down operations at the federal Whipple building, a government building just north of the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport and the main hub for several federal agencies. Members of their hard blockade team used vehicles, RV trailers that they would overturn, check hedgehogs, and ice blocks that they would throw at law enforcement to obstruct roads used by law enforcement near the Whipple building in order to impede the movement of law enforcement. Members of their soft blockade team used homemade shields constructed from plastic, wood, and metal to physically resist the efforts of law enforcement and to aggressively break through teams of officers on foot.
Yeah, so if somebody is shooting munitions at you, are you not allowed to make sure that they don't hit? Do you want to just get hit with rubber bullets in the face? Like, I don't understand the argument here. Like, they have tanks. So, like, can't you just go around? Do they not have streets in Minnesota? Like, what? You know, it's like, what? It sounds like they just, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't speak to the legality of what they did, but you know, I'm very, very skeptical of anything that these people say because they have had one case after another thrown out of court. I encourage everybody to watch this press conference. I also want to let you know that I'm working with a couple people on something that we're proud of. We created a website for New Yorkers. It's a voting guide that's brought to you by Sway. We have 112 verified voters from across the country. So you can join no matter where you're from. If you go to the Sway voting guide, I'm putting in the chat right now. Please, yeah, take care, Chicago Bish. You should definitely go to our Sway voting guide in the chat and register. You don't have to, you know, you can just get in there. It'll tell you who we're voting for, who, you know, we're supporting candidates like Zoran Mamdani. We grade on a curve, though. You know, we understand that in Montana, like Zoran Mamdani may not get elected, but we want to make sure that it's the person who's the most committed to making the country a better place. So if you can join our voter guide, that's great because, you know, the more people we get in that voter guide, the more times we can call a senator's office and we don't have to, we can just be like, hey, we got 1,000 registered voters and 400 of them live in your district. And like, you know, you won by 1,000 votes last time. So you better pass Medicare for all, or you better pass the Block the Bombs Act. So the more people we get in this voter guide, the more actual power and organized that we are. And, you know, one of the people that we have a beef with is Dan Goldman. So we built a website. It's dangoldmanforcongress.com. He's a congressman who works for the people who can afford him. Independently wealthy, independently minded. He's got $200 million in the bank, and he can focus on what really matters: a dependable vote for the crypto industry and a magnet for max out donors. He's the worst. We're still keeping the website going. I don't know where this link goes. I think it might be a dead link. Yeah. But we can put the we're gonna put the voter guide there because it's funny. Yeah, thanks everybody for joining us. We're the Party Crashers. We're hanging out every day. For now, we're starting at 11 a.m. Eastern time for a couple hours. We cook through your lunch break, and then we kind of go our separate ways and do our thing. But the biggest thing you can do to support us is go to Substack and subscribe for free. You just put in your email, and that way you get a notification every time we go live, just like you do. If you prefer to do Twitch, Twitch is great. Twitch, Substack, you'll never miss what we're doing. You'll never miss a show. That's the biggest way to help us out. Because times are tough. We never paywall our work. We never do anything like that. Other than Twitch and Substack, you can go to YouTube if you're not familiar with those two platforms. Just hit the links and do the thing. And thanks for everybody who joined us. Swank, we really had a good time with you today. And I really appreciate you showing up in the chat and keeping me and Chicago Bish and the rest of our community company. Please come back tomorrow. We love you. We're still kind of ramping up, and we're hoping to have some cool guests in the meantime very soon. So we'll talk to everybody later, and have a great rest of your Tuesday.